That leads me to number 7, and we're headed back out west. And I've got the Grizzlies at the 7th seed. I'm very curious to know what they're ranked at. But this is one of
Five.
those
Their
teams.
BPI is five. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. No, that's. I feel like this is. I, I'm always two above, two below, working my way up. But no, they're such a. I already reserved one phrase for a different team, so I don't want to use that phrase for them. But I like their core. Um, to me, it's if obviously the team's going to go the way Ja goes, if he can kind of pull them along, and yeah, they're one of those again. They're kind of like the Knicks. I haven't given them probably enough time because I usually, like I mentioned this before, that when I'm flicking through and I see them on there and it's like Grizzlies, I kind of just like, oh yeah, I've seen the Thunder. Like I don't know why I kind of put them together. So I just kind of when I'm quickly looking at the end of the night trying to watch a game, I just for whatever reason I have bypassed more of the games than I should have. And so at least for me, I feel like they're a team that I don't know too much about besides the fact that I know that they have a lot of weapons. It's like you mentioned too, kind of with the Knicks, like but they have scores, but yet I know that they're going to be solid on the defensive end. So that's where it's like I don't need to know that much to know that this team is going to be a good team that kind of comes out. It's I feel like it's kind of been that same grindhouse. I feel like Tony Allen's all of a sudden going to show up and this team's going to play tough defense and kind of manage to win 2 games in a series. So that's I feel like, but yet I think that they can do even more. And with the way the kind of the matchups might lay out for them, um, yeah, I think I to me like I'm looking at it like right now they're up against the Lakers, and it's like I don't know if they're ready to kind of take them on, but I would love to see a Thunder Grizzlies second round matchup. And so that's where it's like to me that's where I'd love for it to go. I just don't think that that's gonna happen.
Well, I
So
think you're gonna get it, pal. I think you're gonna get it. I
oh
think.
okay.
I,
Well we'll see. We'll see. I to me I would love it, but that's one of those my brain wants to see it, but I feel like for whatever reason my gut and my heart are like I feel like the story writers want Luca and LeBron to kind of go on this. Maybe they want them all of a sudden fall flat on their face, and then Dallas has a good laugh. Who knows? We'll see.
so I mean, I do think as a regular season team, the Grizzlies are better than the five spot that they're at. Ja hasn't had like a stellar season. It's been kind of interesting watching him try to be as efficient around the hoop as he has in the past. Just not quite there. So, with him currently being out with the hamstring, hopefully to return soon, I do think that they're going to stick around in that 4 or 5 spot. Again, I think they got a healthy enough of a lead against the rest of the playing teams and are kind of dragging behind the Rockets enough that they're not going to sneak up into 2. And then I know we'll talk more about the Nuggets a little bit later. I don't think that they're going to necessarily pass the Nuggets in the standings either to close the season. So whether they finish 4 or 5, I think they're going to be kind of juggling with the Lakers in that spot, and that is where in fact they're going to finish. And so yeah, I think you're going to get that first round matchup with the Lakers, which I could see very much being like a just like we dominate this game, you dominate that game, and it going that way to 7. Like every win is a double digit win, going back and forth. Just because neither team is finding any like true consistency, and
I
but
love that. That
it,
sounds like a great series to watch.
it'll be fun. It'll be fun. In actuality, I do think that the Grizzlies will figure the Lakers out in that series because I mean the Grizzlies have a more well-rounded team. They have a far deeper team. They have continuity on their side. They lost Brandon Clark at the end of the season again, which is a huge hit for them. I love the way Brandon Clark plays with Ja. They have a really good chemistry. But yeah, should be now that I mentioned that last little tidbit, it's making it tough. Who would I pick? I think it will be that series. I don't know who's going to have home court advantage. If it's Lakers, then I might actually pick Lakers if they finish 4. But I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to stick with my gut. I'm going to give it to the Grizzlies. I think the Lakers are going to exit in the first round just because they won't have a good enough of a defense to put up with Memphis, who doesn't have like stellar offensive options. But Jaren Jackson Jr. is having a hell of a season. He's kind of like Evan Mobley West, just like we're like that's the guy we've been waiting for. There he is. And yeah, I think he's gonna give a lot of those smaller defenders on the Lakers hell. So yeah, I don't hate where you put them. Anyway, that's all I got.
And this is why I was grinding my teeth, because I have the Lakers at 6. So everything that you said, I feel like LeBron is going to do something, I don't want to say magical, but he'll force his way through that first round. And whether it's to kind of say, hey, Luka, look, this is what you have to do if you want to do this. Because I saw some picture. He's lost from opening day with Dallas. Luka's lost like 33 pounds now. And like, I want to say the majority of that has been since he's been with the Lakers. So
I'm not taking that picture as truth. I got to see him standing on the scale, 2 cameras, and then verified. Otherwise, I'm not believing the weight loss. But go on.
No, and it's even if it's just a matter of water weight, or the fact that was like
it is
preseason donut Luka.
It's about just as dry in LA as it is in Texas.
Yeah. So to me, I feel like, yeah, he doesn't. That picture definitely was like, okay, that's surprising, but it's also, I would like to re-see the opening day picture, because that was kind of surprising as well. So in any case, I just, for whatever reason, feel like those two, or it's actually not those two. What is it that in? I don't have my name jar with me, and I know I'm going to ruin this because this is Spanish, but the tres leches, I think, is what they're calling the exciting whites that are on the Lakers. So to me, I just think there's going to be a little too much showtime, whether it's the dazzle behind the scenes that's going to push, or the refs swallowing some whistles, or letting Luka play. That's just going to put them above the Grizzlies in that series.
Yeah, I mean, we know what Luka could do in a playoff series. We know what LeBron could do in a playoff series. I mean, 40-year-old LeBron. So, how much of that are you going to get? But when he's playing off of the likes of Luka, and currently a very, very good, a very recently hot Austin Reeves, who give me a second. I'm fumbling here because I want to pull up.
You're
Just
fumbling
what he's
because
been
you
doing.
badmouthed the guy for like the last 18 months. That I'm surprised you have anything good to say about him. So that's curious.
All right. That is not true. That is not true. He's a very good offensive player. I just didn't like that him in his early seasons as a Laker, his early seasons in the NBA, was foul hunting with the level of efficiency as James Harden and getting all the calls. It felt a little bit of Laker love. All right, I'm just gonna say it. It felt wrong. Now that the rule changes have really made a big difference. You're not seeing him do that as much. You're not seeing him get away with as much, and you're actually seeing like the good shooting, high level decision making Austin Reeves play his game. And yeah, he's been developing quite well these last 2 months. And so February, he averaged 22 points on 45% shooting. And then this month so far, he's averaging 23 points on 47% shooting. And, I forgot to mention the 4 rebounds and 5 assists and 5 rebounds and 5 assists respectively for those past 2 months, with a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, but a few double doubles thrown in there. It's been impressive. And definitely think it helps that he has two of the all-time great players that he's playing next to. Well, I guess the time will tell with Luka,
Opens up the
but it
court a
seems
little
like
bit.
it's yeah, exactly. It can kind of like quicken, the what he has to do out there. But anyway, I mean, yeah, offensive. I could see the Lakers like pouring in points on the Grizzlies potentially, but I think the Grizzlies are going to be able to punch right back, and I think they're going to be able to throw that final hook, and they're going to be able to do it by game 6, or it's not gonna be like the Lakers. So as we all know, in spite of or rather, besides the LeBron injury, the Lakers have kind of been leveling out a little bit. They haven't been winning the same rate as they were when they were like hottest team for a little bit there, like second to like the Cavs basically, and um and so I think what we're actually seeing is like a deviation towards the mean. I mean, they had like a bad loss to the Bulls. They've had a couple in there that just sort of show, I think, some of what we're going to see. Not just for the rest of the season, but in the playoffs as well. Anyway, we're talking about these two teams too much. Well, let's move on.
What's their
Unless you have another
BPI?
question. Oh, sorry. Their projection is wow, their rank is third. No way. Their BPI rank is third? How is that possible? Over the Celtics? Are you serious? All right. Whoever is generating this, yeah, I mean,
I've
they
got a
should
better list.
I think so. I think so.
Yes. All right.
I mean, it's
Until
really, I
until
mean,
I this next pick.
that ranking is very like top star level heavy. Anyway, go on.
That's fine. We have approached the top 5.
Woohoo.
And so I'm very curious to know how you react to these next ones. I feel like you might be more shook on this one, but or you're gonna be like, yeah, that makes sense. That's
Well,
valid.
I know just based on who you haven't mentioned, like the last 5
Yeah,
teams, but I'm curious to see what order you have
I
them
can
in at this
rapid
point.
fire these. Like we can go through them fairly quick if need be, just because I feel like we've probably talked a lot about these remaining teams.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of these other ones we probably have a bit, but it was good to give them their due. So number 5, I've got the Nuggets. I feel like Jokic is somebody you've forced me to be won over by his just unbelievableness, that like we're forced to kind of like just accept his greatness and be like, this is the greatest basketball player that's playing right now. And he can kind of help his team win on any given night. So it's to me like they're just slotted here automatically at 5 and have a chance to go up, and like I wouldn't be surprised if they win it all. To me, that's where this goes, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they lose in the first round too. So it depends on matchups and just kind of the way that things shake out. So curious to know
So
your
wait,
thoughts on the Nuggets at 5.
before that, I think what's very interesting is who you put at number 4. I have to see that first before I can move on.
Okay, that's fine. I will give you this. We just loaded it in. So here, number 4, I have the
Okay.
Rockets. At
Okay.
number
Gotcha. So, okay. So obviously we'll get into the Rockets a little bit more here, but I mean, the Rockets are up a game and a half on the Nuggets right now.
I was like, give me
Two
some
games
BP.
better. 2 games better in the loss column. The Rockets uh, they are down at 6 below Memphis on the BPI rank. Which I don't think is bad for them.
Nuggets.
So they went from the Nuggets are 7 below that. So you at least got that order correctly, and not far off either. So, how do we approach this one? Okay, so the Rockets went on what was it, like a 6-game losing streak before they became like one of the hottest teams in the league currently. And I mean, a little bit of it was injury related, but a lot of it, honestly, was just them sort of looking like that young team. I expected them to falter at some point. I think I even said in one of our earlier episodes, even if the Rockets at this point, because I think they were like second or third in the league, I said even if the Rockets at this point fall to the play-in and lose to a good team to not make the playoffs, I consider this a very successful season for them. But at this point, it's looking even far better than that. So I think that they're certainly going to stay out of the play-in race at this point for sure. Now, where they end up ultimately is tough to say. At the risk of my computer freezing, I'm go ahead and looking at their strength of schedule. This is probably not updated based on tonight's games, but they do have one of the tougher schedules moving forward, ranked 10th on the one I'm looking at. And wow, okay, so this is fun. One of those games against the Warriors, one against the Clippers, two against the Lakers, one against the Nuggets, and one against OKC, and not to mention the one against the Suns also. That is brutal. They are going essentially up against, except for their game
They're already in
against.
the playoffs.
Say that again.
I said they're already in the playoffs. The rest of their schedule is playoff teams.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And not only that, but like playoff teams that are coming for their spot essentially, or coming for a spot, a few ranks below them, and so
Yeah.
so that is tough. Do I think that they're better than the Nuggets? No, they're better defensively. They have a younger, scrappier team. They're kind of firing on all cylinders right now. I think just by default, like their number one offensive option is Jalen Green, who's good, who's showed growth over the past 2 seasons now, like season and a half, really. But for like a slight guy who's small for his position, who's not a great shooter, I mean, when it comes down to it, like who's gonna be making these big buckets? Is it gonna be Jalen Green? I don't know. Is it gonna be Fred Van Fleet? I mean, I don't think it's gonna be Amen Thompson. I think Şengün is gonna
Dylan
struggle.
Brooks.
Yeah, exactly. And don't get me wrong. Like if you watch a good Rockets game, and there's been a ton of them this year, obviously they're doing super well.
Yeah,
You'll
there's always
see.
somebody new.
Yeah, and you'll see Tyrese or Dylan Brooks just like be playing out of their mind. You're like, where's this guy coming from? Like this is the guy that we expected to be seeing. You'll see Dylan Brooks hitting these like huge corner threes in crunch time moments. It's been happening. It's been happening all year. But I do not trust this offense in a playoff setting. I think defensively they are gonna squeak out some games. But in terms of what it's gonna cost, or what it's gonna be like to close the season,
I
gosh,
hear
with the
you.
amount of
I
games
hear
that they
you.
have left, I'm trying to just like mathematically determine, like, without actually doing math, like, can the Nuggets like really claw back those 2 games? Can they really get those back on the Rockets? That's tough. I know that they're going to want them. I know that the Nuggets are going to want them so bad because they're going to want to avoid OKC for as long as possible in the playoffs. Or heck, maybe their mindset is like, we don't care when we get them, and maybe the earlier the better. We'll have more energy. So I can kind of see that going either way. In part
Well,
because
2 or
Jokic has been
3
out
seeds, they're going
recently.
to see them at the same point. So getting 2 seeds not going to mean that they're going to see them any later than sitting at 3.
Oh, you're right. That was silly of me. Okay, so you know what? I think. Okay, so you've convinced me at this point. I think the Rockets are gonna somehow, in spite of their schedule, stay where they're at, and the Nuggets, because Jokic, who is probably going to return on Friday, I foresee the Nuggets kind of giving him another rest day or two before the end of the season if they feel like it's possible. And so, I don't think that they're going to be like trying to make. I don't think they're going to be as aggressive at trying to capture that 2 spot as the Rockets are. But I can kind of see that going either way. Either way, if the Nuggets finish third, they would be playing the Clippers to start. I'm sorry, they would be playing by my projections the T Wolves to start. Woof. I don't think they want that either. And then and if they would otherwise be facing the Warriors, which would be another really, really fun series, and probably not the strongest one for the Nuggets. But so either way, I mean, it's really hard for me to say that the Nuggets are going to lose in the first round. I could see it's possible based on the teams that I just mentioned, but I do not foresee them losing the first round. And then we get to the Rockets, who this is where it gets really interesting because the Rockets, I just went on this rant about the Rockets and what I think, some of the deficiencies in a playoff setting and how I just am like as much as I love this team, it's just like the lack of confidence I have in them, like actually pulling out a full series. I think they could do it, but man, if they are in fact playing like the Wolves, Warriors, or Clippers, that's tough. I mean, we're talking teams who have been there before, a couple of veteran teams who are also good defensively against their offense, which I think is just really going to struggle. I don't see the Rockets. It's going to be close, but I don't see them actually winning out of the first round.
Hmm. Wow. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they're going
Here's
to earn every opportunity that they get this year, and I really like them moving forward. They are the number one team that I would love to see like a big star move over in the offseason to just
no,
like, I mean, they have all the
you've
pieces,
mentioned
just
that
get the
the
one guy,
closer. You've
which is, yeah,
mentioned that
exactly.
they
I'm
need the
making that sound like
closer.
it's easy. Like it's not. That's not easy at all. It's probably not going to happen. But if it does, I think they would be the team that could make the biggest leap off of that. So, or one of them
All
anyway.
right.
So, yeah, I like their future. I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna struggle in that first round. Yeah.
Wow.